Kortnie, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really ready to kind of dig in to the twin parenting life of a single lady is really how that goes. So,
Yeah.
we have every type of family at Twiniversity. We're very fortunate. I think that the big commonality obviously is that everybody has twins, but we have a lot of single parents, and some of them may be very, very newly single parents. I want to know, I want to just dig in, like Courtney, honestly, just like open up the doors, tell us everything. So let's start with the beginning. Tell us about the puppies. Oh my gosh, your twinnies are getting so big already.
They are. And it's funny because when they were babies, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to sleep through the night. I can't wait till they're toddlers. Like we're gonna be able to go to the zoo and they're gonna be able to talk. And my daughter learned how to talk and all she does is talk. So it's like, toddler stage is
Yeah.
hard. But I first found out I was pregnant with twins at roughly seven, like 7.5 weeks. I had an early ultrasound.
Okay.
And I was sitting in there and I was looking at the screen and I was like, oh my God, why is there two? Why do I see two right now? And she's like, congrats, you're having twins. And I was like, oh man, I cried. Like I cried because it was like, it's overwhelming. You're
Yeah.
having two babies. I've never been pregnant before. And then all of a sudden, you got two. So it was a lot. Things between me and their father didn't work out and I had to leave to be in a better situation. I didn't want to raise my kids in a certain home and have them exposed to certain things. So I decided, you know what? I can do it on my own. Like I will figure it out. But I just knew I wanted to have my babies. Twins run in my family. My mom actually had twins. My brother and sister are a twin. So I figured if anything, my twin sister would have a twin and not me, but I was the chosen one. And yeah, it was rough. I decided to leave their dad for the better of me and the kids. And I ended up like I lived in a shelter. I started from scratch with the twins. Like I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going, but I knew that I needed to bring these babies in because for whatever reason I was chosen to have two at the same time and
Mhm.
it was special to me. It's I was 22 years old at the time. It's not easy. A lot of people tell you like you're so young, this is going to hold you back, this is going to stop your life, like maybe you shouldn't have babies and that's okay, but for me that just it wasn't an option at the time. So, I live in Massachusetts and in my city there was a shelter called Visitation House and they help pregnant moms and you could stay there until your baby is 6 months old. So I
Okay.
did that. Um and looking back at it, like when I was there, I didn't want to be there. I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm here. Like this situation sucks. Like I can't believe I'm in this situation. But looking back at it, it was exactly where I needed to be at the time because I got the support and the help, and my babies were loved before they were even born and everything. And, I had support. I was going to parenting classes. It really helped me and opened doors to a lot of resources that I didn't even know existed. There's so much help for single moms and especially like twin single moms. Everybody wants to surround you with love and care and everything like that. You just have to reach out, but there's so many resources.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, I went through my pregnancy. It was the morning sickness. I remember the morning sickness. That was horrible. And I didn't have like the morning sickness didn't end probably until like 24 weeks for me. It was bad. It felt like I was on a constant roller coaster. And during my pregnancy, I felt a little off. I kept explaining to my OB, I was like, feel dizzy, feel like something might not be right. And they're like, no, 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 you're pregnant with twins, just drink more, eat more, you're fine. And I ended up having preeclampsia and I didn't find out until I was already in like preterm labor.
Mm.
So it was rough, but I was 36 weeks and 4 days when I went into the hospital. And they told me that I needed to deliver that day because the preeclampsia, like whatever test they ran, came back, and that I was in labor and it wasn't gonna stop. So my son was breech and my daughter was like head down. So I just opted for a cesarean because I thought it was going to be safer for me and the babies, and it was more of a guarantee that things would go smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and they were born. Gracie was like 5 pounds 3 ounces, and Ez was 5 pounds 7 ounces. So they were pretty close, but fairly healthy. We didn't need any NICU time, which was a blessing because I know that's an extra stress for parents and that's extra hard. And, you know, you're already nervous, you're having twins, and then all the other stuff that goes into it is, you know, it's not easy. And yeah, I just then I had 2 babies and I just chugged along. I would say the beginning was the hardest. You know, you can read every book, you can watch every show, you can go to every class, but nothing really prepares you for having twins than when they're in your they're in your arms and you have the twins there. And I remember, you know, babies are supposed to wake up like every 2 hours, but when you have twins, they're not born on the same schedule. So, you know, unfortunately, that'd be great, but it doesn't happen that way.
It would be fantastic.
You know? And I remember, oh my goodness, it was like I would get 40 minutes of sleep in between because you have to feed one baby, burp one baby, change one baby, and then boom, as soon as you close your eyes, the other one's up, and now that one needs to be fed, changed, burped, and everything like that. So I would say that time in my life was extremely rough. I also had like postpartum pretty bad, and being a single twin mom, you know, eyes are on you, and I felt like the pressure to be like perfect mom. Like I could not mess up. Like I had to do everything above and beyond because it's like you're already a single mom, so you have that against you is what it feels like. And then you know, now you have 2 babies in your care, in your hands, and you know, that's a lot of pressure. And it wasn't until probably like they were 2.5 months and like the 40-minute thing to an hour thing, I was like, okay, I got to do something differently. What can I do? And I was winging it because, you know, I lost my mom at 19, so I didn't have anybody to call and be like, hey, how did you do this? Or what do you do? You know, I just had to like trial and error. And I was like, I'm getting these babies on schedule. Like they have to be on the same schedule. This is madness. And from that point on, I started just making 2 bottles at once, pulling out 2 diapers at once, you know, one in one arm, maybe one in the boppy pillow or vice versa. I remember holding 2 bottles in my hand at a time. And, you know, it was hard, but it was so worth it because, you know, my kids are 2.5 now, and they're just the sweetest things. They're so different, but so alike. I have a son and a daughter, and oh my goodness, like my son's a wild one, but he's so compassionate and stuff. Like, you know, you sneeze and he's running and bringing you a tissue, and I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay, mommy? Are you okay? Do you need to call the doctor? Like, no, baby, mommy's okay. Thank you, you know? And then my daughter, oh, she is just a ball of fire. Like, listen, Frozen in this house is like the go-to, and she's Elsa. Like, you know? So it's like all those hard nights were so worth it because, you know, I see my kids' personalities and I see their manners and I see their interactions with other people, and like everywhere they go, they're just like a light, and, you know, they automatically draw people in, and they're the best. Being a twin mom is like no other. Like I don't know what it's like to be just a mom of one. You know, I had twins first. Now I'm expecting one. But it's so special. It is so special. So it's like, you know, I really encourage any woman out there, single or otherwise, in a bad relationship, like don't let anything stop you because for whatever reason you were chosen to be a part of twin parenting and a twin mom, and you can do it single. I mean, if I could do it, I really feel like anybody could do it. You know, and there's no book. So there's no book to like, this is the right way to parent. And if you step outside this, like you're messing up. Like A mom who's trying, a mom who cares, and a mom who loves her babies is
Yeah,
all that's important. Like
absolutely.
that's what's needed.
It's really true. It's at the end of the day, it's really the love that you could give them, not the stuff that you give them, that makes a
Mm-hmm.
person who they are. Now, you
Mm-hmm.
said that you delivered at a place called Visitation House, or when you delivered, you were living there, and you said that
Yes.
there were
Yep.
so many resources. How did you how did you find those resources?
Google. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like I'm a Google person. I Google everything. So at the time I was in school, I was going to Job Corps and I was going for medical assisting. I ended up being pregnant before graduation. On the weekends, I was with the twins' dad, and it was like nearing graduation. I lived on center of Job Corps, so it was like, all right, graduation's nearing. I'm pregnant. Like, what
Mhm.
is my next step? At first, I thought the relationship would work. I was gonna live with him, and it just was a really bad situation. So I was like, I can't do this. I can't let my kids grow up seeing mom and dad fight or being exposed to certain things. I didn't want that for my babies. So I Googled shelters for pregnant women and honestly Visitation House popped up and I called and from there the shelter that I lived in was just for women. It can help up to like 12 pregnant women at the
Mhm.
time. And when you're there, you have like you they provide the meals at the time and they help you with stuff you need for the babies and stuff, and they give you certain classes like parenting classes and whatnot and resume classes, just so people have those things that otherwise they might not.
Yeah.
I live in a city and there's not always doors open for everybody.
Mhm.
Not everybody gets the fairy tale, so they really help you work through that. And you know being there, I guess, like when you live in a shelter or something, because there's so much stigma around it, you
Mhm.
live in a shelter and at first your pride is like, oh my gosh, like I live in a shelter, this is embarrassing, like I can't believe it, like am I capable of being a mom? I can't even provide a home at the time right now. So you have to put your pride aside, you really do, and you have to just go off the power of my babies deserve better and I will do whatever I can to give them better. So in my city, I was on like welfare DTA at the time. I had to go apply. Um, there's this place called Pernay, which helps if you have like a premature baby. They come, they do nurse visits for you and everything like that. And they help sort out like which formula would be best for your baby and whatnot. And when I when I had my early ultrasound, there's a clinic where I live. It's a free clinic and it's called Clearway Clinic. And it's faith based, but they don't judge you no matter what shoes you walked
Mhm.
in. They accept everybody and they are so
Fantastic.
loving and great.
Beautiful.
And they point you in the direction of a lot of support groups. They've been a support to me and the twins even to this day. Like they call and check on us and things are a lot better, but it took a lot to get to the better. But support groups, different things, like you just have to be open.
Mhm.
Don't let the situation that you're in that moment kind of determine where you're going to go, or don't let it get you down, because like you could be in one position today and tomorrow you could be in everywhere you want and
Mhm.
everything you want.
It's really fascinating that you were talking about like the stigma of a shelter, and I do believe that most people would probably say, oh, like that's the lowest of the low. But I
Mm-hmm.
know, not only we're knowing you, but many other twin families who have been in the shelter system because, especially if they left a domestic violence situation,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's in the middle of the night with their twins with literally
Yeah.
nothing but the clothes on their back. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something that it's such a great resource, like you said, if you need it. And I wish there wasn't a stigma around it, because I
Yeah.
don't think that the people who are in the shelter system are like, well, I'm choosing this because this is better. It's like,
Right.
I have
Right.
this is where my options are right now, because you could still stay with an abusive partner, or you could be living in your car, or you could be living on the street. And
Of
there's
course.
nothing better than the support that you could get from a good shelter system. And we do have to say that within the United
Yeah.
States, they vary very, very greatly, but usually faith-based shelters specifically too
Yeah.
are something to look at. So if you are in a
Mhm.
situation right now and you're like, but I'm not Christian, or, I'm whatever it is, I'm not Islamic, whatever that particular organization is that is helping out those families, it doesn't matter. They're not
Yeah, they don't
faith
turn you
specific.
away.
No,
Yeah,
it's
and it's like I say faith-based, but it doesn't matter like what path you walked in life. Like
yeah.
I lived in a Catholic shelter and I wasn't Catholic. I didn't practice Catholicism at the time. Like they still accepted me. They still accepted my babies. They still loved my
Mhm.
babies. They still prayed over my babies.
Yeah.
And, they didn't just turn me away because I was in this situation with
Yeah.
my twins' dad. They didn't turn me away because of the choices I've made in the past
Yeah.
and anything like that. So it's really hard to be in that situation, especially as, an expecting mother, but you just have to trust your heart. Like things will work out. And as long as you try and as long as you wake up every day and
Mhm.
put your first foot in front of you, like it'll get better. Things will
Yeah.
get better and it'll work out. And there's a reason why you have those babies.
Absolutely. So now when you had the babies and when you went to the hospital, did you have them all by yourself, or were there family members that came to your side?
Yeah, so I actually, you know, I had classes and everybody told me labor was gonna be like, oh, you're gonna feel contractions and you're gonna go to the hospital. I thought I had food poisoning. I was like throwing up viciously. I was like, oh my gosh. So I went to the ER and then they had the test came back and they told me like, you're gonna have to deliver today. And I was panicked. I didn't have anybody there in that moment. And
Mhm.
now I'm gonna have a C-section. I'm signing all these papers and you know, I called my dad and I was like, Dad, I have to deliver the twins tonight and I'm scared. And he showed up at the hospital, was there for me when I had my cesarean, and he stayed in the hospital for like he visited me every day, but that day he stayed like 2 days in a row, like from the time I gave birth and whatnot, because I was there for like 5 days. And my dad's been a great support. My kids call him Papa. They love their Papa. They're always there on the weekends. It was amazing and scary and exciting and all those things. But yeah,
Yeah.
I had my dad there at the time.
Oh, that's fantastic. That makes me
Mhm.
very happy. I think that would be, we have a lot of families who go through labor and delivery all by themselves. And so some of
Yeah,
them are even in other countries and all by
yeah,
themselves and don't even know the language. Like it's unbelievable the different ways that people have their twins and go through everything. And
yeah,
it's really
yep,
nice to have that balance of like the super decadence and everybody's outside. Like you said, there's not one way
yeah,
to do anything. So now
yeah.
that you're looking back at your 2.5 years of flying solo and you're crushing it and you're living the dream, girl, what are some of the things that you would say to a single parent, whether it was about the anxiety of being alone with them or the guilt of not having, a partner? What do you reflect on as a single mom that you offer opinions and tips for other single parents?
Yeah, I mean, basically everything you said is it can be lonely. It can be very lonely. And it's okay to feel alone. It's okay to feel some days I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I even doing? But at
Mhm.
least we ate breakfast. Like, at least we got food in our bellies. Whether they want to wake up and eat a bag of chips, like, you gotta pick your fights with it with toddlers.
Absolutely. That's the
So
truth.
sometimes Doritos it is. But you know, I would say like you're not crazy. Um, there's good days, there's bad days. You
Mhm.
got to take the good with the bad. Um, what makes it worth it is the little like, mommy, can I have a hug? I love you, mommy. Like those things.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not even gonna lie. Like I'm a single mom. It's hard. Like some days, when they're asleep, I sit back and I think, and I'm like, oh, they don't have a dad. Or they'll watch a TV show and they see a family and they're like, is that my dad? And it kind of breaks your heart as a mom when in those moments. But you just gotta know, like, nothing is forever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the
Yeah.
future holds for me, and I don't know what the future holds for my twins, but I really try. So the tips I would say is, if you feel like lonely or you feel depressed or anything, don't ever be afraid to reach out for help. You're not crazy, and it's important to take care of you too, because your kids are only as good as you are, you know? So I would say that is like a number one thing, especially being a single parent. And like, don't feel pressure that your kids need to have everything or you need to make up for something just because you're a one parent household. It's okay to be a one parent household. You don't have to overdo it for anything, you know. Just love your kids, give them love, teach them the things that you weren't taught, you know. You don't have to necessarily give them things, just teach them things, and just embrace your kids, you know, and things will work out.
What do you do when they say, like, is that my dad? Like, how do you even respond to that? Are you very matter of fact? Are you, because there's so little. Are you like 100% honest? What do you do in those situations?
Yeah, so I believe, like, personally, like, for my parenting style and stuff like that, I'm honest, but I also believe, like, age appropriate honesty, you know. Like, I can't just tell them, like, mommy and daddy fought and it didn't work out, so I left or whatever. I just say, daddy loves you. He's working through some things, but your dad still loves you no matter what. And, you have papa in your life, you have mommy who love you very much. And, my friend Maggie, they call her Auntie Maggie. I'm like, you have Auntie Maggie, and we're all here for you. So,
Yeah.
I just kind of do it that way. And if as they get older, I know they're gonna have questions. Sometimes they hear me calling my dad dad and they call him dad. And I try to explain to them, no, that's mommy's dad, that's your papa. But it's hard when they're two.
Yeah.
They don't
Very.
quite understand the concept. And, you know, they still have my dad as a male figure in their life. So I think,
Mhm.
they're good on that. But I am very honest with them. They know that their dad's not around. They know certain facts, but not everything. Like, I don't believe it's appropriate to tell a 2-year-old, like, hey, specifics, But as they get older, it's something I think about, and I'm like, especially having a daughter and I'm expecting another daughter and then having a son. I don't want my son to treat women a certain way, and I don't want my daughter to ever stay in a certain relationship, whether she has kids or not. Don't feel like you're trapped, My door will always be open for them, but that's why I also believe, like, I have to tell them the truth and I have to tell them certain things because, you know, we want to protect our kids from everything and we don't want them to ever make a mistake. But mistakes happen. And the only thing that I can ever do is be honest with them and hope that they feel comfortable enough to come to me if they ever find themselves in that situation instead of staying in that situation.
Do you think that your mom and the women that were around you gave you those skills?
I do, because my parents weren't in a perfect relationship when I was younger.
Mhm.
And my mom at a point was a single mom. And then when she passed, my dad was a single dad. So growing up in the household that I grew up in and seeing certain things that I seen when I was younger
Mhm.
was what impacted my decisions in having my own kids and knowing, like, okay, like, I don't need to stay with a man for the sake of we have kids together, because it doesn't benefit your kid if your kid is seeing certain things every night. It's not going to help them long term. And just to say, oh, I have a dad or oh, I have a mom, you
Yeah.
could be a great parent by yourself. You don't really need that title, especially if the household is built on a bad foundation. It's kind of better to, maybe the kids will miss having a dad in certain moments, but it's better than them being scared in the house having certain things go
Absolutely.
on.
Absolutely. Okay. You said I could ask you anything, and I really am. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
and you could
Yeah.
we could literally edit this out if you don't want to answer it, but I'm really curious because I know that one of the big things for single parents is they often think of the, like, what if, right?
Mhm.
Like, what if something were to happen to you?
Yeah.
What happens to them? Like, let's say it's like
Yeah.
not even, let's not even go catastrophic, God forbid.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
just go that you are injured and you need to be in a
Yeah.
hospital for 3 weeks. What is the kind of the chain of command, whether it's your friends or family, and how did you have those discussions with those people to kind of let them
Mhm.
know that, they're needed a little bit more than a typical friend or family member?
Yeah. So honestly, it's one of those things I have thought of course, I think anybody would think of, but especially when you're a single mom, because there's times throughout a day I can't even get a break. I can't take a breath. So it's like you think, oh goodness, what if something happened to me? What am I gonna do? Who's gonna take care of my babies? And then, you have to trust that person also because you're trusting them with your kids, your life,
Yeah.
everything. Um, so I've had conversations with certain people. I've had conversations with my dad. My dad works a lot and he's kind of set in his work
Mhm.
life and stuff. So he wouldn't be like probably the perfect option for something. Like I couldn't just call him up today and be like, "Hey, I need you to go get the kids. I need you to stop what you're doing, go get the kids because I can't do it." My kids are in daycare right now, and I know people are like, "Oh, daycare," and it's a home daycare, and she's so amazing. And she was a single mom. She's still a
Mhm.
single mom. She raised two girls herself. And, my kids have been there since they were 7 months old with
Mhm.
her. And she's actually offered, you know, she's had that conversation with me without me having to bring it up to her. She's had that conversation with me. And she said, if you called me at midnight today, I would stop everything I was doing and I would come and get your kids so they're loved, so they're cared for, and so they grow in a happy home.
Yeah.
And you don't meet people like that all the time.
True.
People you can trust with your kids, people who genuinely love your kids just because they love them.
Yeah.
And, so it's sometimes you find people who aren't family necessarily,
Mhm.
but they're as good as family.
Do you ever think about like the legality of it, like having a will or something that says, this person is going to be the person that's responsible? And have you ever thought about actually like initiating that, or did you already do that? Like how? Because I always think, I don't know, I'm just a very negative person. I have to be honest with you, Courtney. I'm horrible, but
Same. I got the worst anxiety. So,
it's how we roll, right? But I know
yeah.
as a parent, it was such a big deal to me that I always thought, like, God forbid something happened to me, or like I'm with my husband and I said, what if we were in a car accident or some plane
Mhm.
crash? This is literally how my mind goes in the middle of the night. And so, I have everything kind of locked down legally
Mhm.
of what would
Mhm.
happen. For
Mhm.
you, being that you're literally, girl, you're just on your own. Do you have documents like that to make sure that the kiddies will always be protected?
I don't. I probably should get on it. I just I feel like my whole parenting has been winging it.
Mhm.
I've talked about it. I know the people who would be in place of it, but I haven't legalized anything or done the documentation side of
Yeah.
it. But pretty much all the people involved in my life know what the plan would be. So
Mhm.
God forbid I go in my car this afternoon and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um they would know. I'm not sure exactly how the process would pan out and
Yeah.
everything like that. But it's something I should probably look
Yeah.
into,
And there's
honestly,
there's
because
honestly a lot of resources like similar to the way that you found that. There is actually
yeah,
a lot of places that offer legal advice and will help you
yeah,
craft a will for nothing, just to make
yeah,
sure that, the state doesn't have to get involved with anything, because
yeah,
then
yeah.
that's a whole pain in the butt.
Mhm,
But it is,
mhm.
I know that a lot of our single parents, that's the main thing, is like, okay, who's going to be this person? And it's not always family.
Yeah,
It really
yeah,
isn't. There's a lot of, family, as they say, that you have people
yeah,
that
yeah,
are really close to you that are like, yes, I definitely want to, to
yeah.
step in and be the one. That's there's so many big decisions to think about with that. Are you ever worried that like their dad is going to try to come back into the picture?
You know, it's not so much a worry because our relationship was bad. He's never been bad to the kids, even when he was involved. It was just
Mhm.
more of I can't have my kids exposed to things. I'm not worried. Like, I guess in my mind, I always pray that like he grows and things turn around and he wants to be in their lives and wants to be a better person for them and everything like that. Because I'm able to understand and accept we cannot be in a relationship,
Mhm.
but I still want you to be a father for your kids. It's just
Yeah.
now is not the time, you know? And I always wish for, you wish that somebody would wake up and realize and
Yeah, of
change.
course.
But they don't always do it. And my kids aren't his first kids. So it's kind of like if he did do it, it'd be like a miracle.
Yeah.
But I'm always open to it. I just don't know, if he would or if he
Yeah.
will. Sometimes his family now, I would say just as of recently, like in the last month, has started recognizing my kids as family and trying to be there.
Okay.
But it's also hard because it's like, well, what made you wait almost 3 years,
Yeah.
And it's like, the hard part's over. Not really, because parenting is all hard and it never is over, but it's like, when I really needed help the most, probably when
Mhm.
they were first born and
Yeah.
everything like that, nobody was there. Nobody would acknowledge my kids. Now they're toddlers. They talk. They can go to the bathroom. They can do everything.
Yeah.
Now people want to be there. So it's kind of hard, but you just have to let go because, you can only handle things within your control. You can't control everything. So you just have to either forgive and accept, or, you just push through and leave it as is.
You've been through a lot, my friend.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly,
Yeah.
and you're so mature for your age, and you've seen more things than, an average adult would have seen. And I'm so impressed with you. I really am.
Thank you.
I hope that you're impressed with you. I hope that you
I, you know,
that you realize, I mean, you probably know other people that are in your situation and handle it very differently.
yeah, yeah. Being a young mom, and I'm not a teen mom, but I'm still in the younger mom side. I've seen a lot. I've seen, the moms who still want to party are still chasing, like, you know what I'm saying, their youth kind of. To me, I've always wanted to be a mom. Like, I felt like my mom was a really loving and good mom, and that was something that I always wanted to give to somebody. And,
Yeah.
you know, I look at it like I've been in the wrong relationships and I've never really had love in the relationship, but the love came from the relationship because
Mhm.
the love is in my children. And, I really believe that on this earth, nobody will ever love you like your child. Like you could have nothing and be quote unsuccessful,
Mhm.
but your kid is going to look at you like you're Superman, and that's a truly amazing feeling. So for me, being a mom is everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
And the bad days, the good, the hard days, whatever, it's where I want to be. I'd rather be in the house cuddled up watching Disney with my kids than be out partying, because it never fulfilled me in the way that being a mom fulfills me.
Unbelievable, girl. And so now what's your day like? Are you working every day and the kiddos are in daycare every day? What
Mhm,
is a typical day for you?
mhm. So I was working as a CMA recently. I had to stop just because I'm towards the end of my pregnancy and I just wasn't feeling the greatest and certain things were going on. So I just took a step back. But when I was working, the days look like I wake up at 5 a.m., take a shower, get myself ready, prepare breakfast, wake the kids up by 7 a.m. They eat their breakfast, whatever. Then we're going to daycare and whatnot. Now the day's a little different because I'm not working. So they love daycare. They call it school. They love being around their friends and
Of
everything.
course.
So I still wake up, take them there, and then they come home. I have to charge their tablets because if I don't charge their tablets, they will not let me forget it. So, they play on their tablets. I'll cook dinner. We watch a movie. We have some ice cream. We're big ice cream people in this
Beautiful.
house.
Love it.
And, and then it's bedtime and we start all over again. Some days they're obsessed with a trampoline park that's like in a town, like not too far from the city I'm in. And so I'll take them there. We've been going like once a week or whatever. It helps me because they burn the energy.
Good.
So
Good.
I don't know who it's more beneficial for, but so we just do that. We just do fun activities. We try and make the best of it, especially because I am due soon and I am expecting. I really want to give them that attention before, like, my attention's divided. And I know it sounds crazy because some people might hear like twins and you're talking about dividing attention. Don't you already do that? It's it's different. Like I don't know
Course.
how to explain it. It's
Of
just
course.
different.
We know. They were
Hmm.
that's our life. It's unbelievable,
Yeah.
but it's true. You really do have to do that. How do you though, if you're thinking about it, because
Hmm.
they are so different, as you
Hmm.
said in the very beginning, how do
Hmm.
you try to nurture their personalities independently?
So as sorry, Ezra, I call him Ez. He's a cuddle bug. He's a mama's boy. He likes to sit on my lap, watch TV, cuddle. He's all about his mama.
Mhm.
Gracie, Miss Independent. So, you know, there's days where like I'll send one of them to daycare, take the other one, and we'll have a special day and whatnot. And really it's just like I don't know, it's just automatic. It's like an autopilot type
Yeah.
thing that I can't explain as like Gracie, she's a girl. So our time is like doing her hair and she'll sing Let It Go a million times, look at herself in the mirror. And, I'm just like, yeah, you're so beautiful. Or like, I can wake up, my hair is a hot mess. I'm a hot mess. And she's like, wow, mommy, you're so pretty. And I'm like, oh, girl, thanks. Like, so we have our girl bonding. And then Ez is just the little nurturer, caring guy. So he's just there to give you hugs and grab you a tissue. Like if I cough and he's in his room, mommy, are you okay? Yes,
I love
I'm
that.
okay.
I love how
Like,
you focus on the positive. Like
yeah,
it's so refreshing and it's so nice. And I'm so glad that you realize that you do have so much positive.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's absolutely wonderful. I'm so honestly, I don't even really know what to say. You have been through so much and you're doing so great. And it's just going to get
Thank you.
better, and each
Yeah.
year it's there's such a wonderful benefit to like growing with your children. And like you were saying about their dad's family, like to just come in, you missed all the good stuff, regardless of the
Yeah.
bad stuff too, but there was so much good stuff.
Yeah.
And you're really
Yeah.
you're really focusing on that. I think it's wonderful. And I honestly, I'm really Courtney, like from my heart to your heart, you're doing really good. And
Thank you.
if people don't
Thank
tell you
you. I
that
really
all the
appreciate it.
time, because there's going to be days that are going to be hard, and we're all going
Of
to have
course.
those, regardless of if you're, a polyamory family with,
Yeah.
with seven moms and dads, or a single
Exactly.
parent. It's your
Exactly.
hard is always your hard.
Hmm.
And it's never,
Exactly.
we can't ever compare our lives because
Exactly.
everybody's going to walk such different paths. But I
Hmm.
really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I can't believe that you even took time to talk to us when you
No,
really
I
should
thank you
be
for
with
having
your
me.
feet up. Don't be ridiculous, girl. Like I said when we started, I can't even believe people say yes when I ask them. I'm like, hey, does anybody want to join me? But I
you
love it. And
know.
you're doing so good and you're so inspiring. And I know that this is going to inspire other people, either to just realize that everybody could do it. Everybody has a little
Hmm.
Courtney in them, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
got that little, like, I'm powerful, I got this, I'm going to do what's best for me and my family.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
I'm doing it. Courtney, thank you so much for hanging out with me
Thank
today.
you. Thank
Don't
you.
don't be ridiculous. It is my pleasure. And for those of you that are out there that are listening, and maybe you guys are in situations that are significantly less than ideal, you really have to do a big kind of evaluation on what's going to be best for you and your family. And like Courtney said, there's a ton of resources out there, not just for single families, for families that are in less than ideal situations, families that are, accidentally found out that they are pregnant with twins. It's out there. You just have to go and find it. And the one thing that makes Courtney so unique and so special is that sometimes people start sinking, and we all, whatever your sinking is, you're all just visually picture it, you're sinking in quicksand, and people will put their hands out to you. You could either take those hands or you could swat them away, but Kortnie didn't, and you don't have to, and the resources are there for you. And if you can't find them yourself, you could actually email us at community@twiniversity.com and we'll try to help. I mean, I can't guarantee that we're going to find exactly what you're looking for, but you're not alone. You're definitely not alone. And if anybody has questions for me or Kortnie, you could use that same email address, just, community@twiniversity.com. And I'm positive that she will answer any questions that you have, because that's just the way it is. When you grow up and you get to have the benefit of, being a part of a community, whether it's Twiniversity, whether it was a shelter, whether it was a church, but when you have that you get so much from, you're always so much more likely to give back. So if you need anything from us, we are always here, and we definitely encourage you to reach out to the resources that you need, but make sure also that you are protecting your families legally and all of that good stuff, because we've seen that too at Twiniversity, unfortunately, and, have been involved in people's divorces and court cases. And you would be like, how the heck did we get here? But you never know. And we really do mean it. So if you need anything from us, you know where to find us. And as always, if you don't feel like emailing us, you could drop us a direct message on any social platform. We're just at Twiniversity. I wish you guys the best of luck. And until next time, guys, see you later, alligators. Thanks for listening.